You want me to count you down?
Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, welcome everyone to Skyrim. I'm Gr3yscale.
I'm Alec-47. You may have seen me get salted in the last run. I am now slightly less salty. Now, you may have noticed that he's not taking a normal path through Helgen here.
Yeah. So, what I did in the beginning is actually a strategy that replaced a different jump. So we've never really done this part the intended way, but jumping over Alduin's wing there saves about 7 seconds over the intended way, which is to go kind of around in a big half circle. And so what I'm doing here is nice that short. Because of the faulty collision detection in this game, when you run at walls with items like bowls, also platters and buckets, oftentimes it'll just clip right past the wall. So doing that skipped about a third of the Helgen dungeon.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing a fair amount of that throughout this run. Another thing that's worth mentioning is he picked Orc as his race. There are two main reasons for that. The first is that Orcs are one of the tallest races in the game, in fact the second tallest race. And there's a modifier to your overall movement speed based on your character's height. So being taller means you go faster. Why not High Elf then? Because of the other reason. Berserker Rage is the Orc's racial ability, and what it does is it increases the damage you deal. Basically, I believe it's just raw doubled.
Yeah, I don't know exactly by how much, but it's enough that it makes a pretty significant difference in fighting.
Yeah, it's at least doubled for the speed run, because if it doesn't include anything, it would be leaving out enhancement bonuses on weapons and or perk bonuses, and neither of those are going to be a factor. The second thing it does is that it decreases the damage dealt to you in basically the same way. So it is a very, very strong ability, arguably one of the strongest racial abilities in the game, and it's on a race that is almost as fast as the fastest. So it just works out to be better because you get faster fights.
And High Elf is about, so if everything were to go very well and you got really lucky on the fights and you were running as High Elf, it'd probably be about 45 seconds faster. And although the statistics or whatever would show that High Elf is only a few percentage points faster than Orc, it is a bigger difference than you'd think. Like in Helgen alone, I think High Elf is about 3 seconds faster. So right now, the reason I'm able to run without any stamina is because of a glitch, which I initiated pretty much right at the beginning of the speedrun. You might have noticed a little bit of stuttering as I was running towards the tower. And what you can do in this game, if you quick save and quick load as you're sprinting, you can actually basically lock your character into sprinting speed without any of the side effects of sprinting the intended way. So I don't know if it's audible to you guys, but right now my footsteps aren't nearly as loud as they would be if I was holding shift to sprint. And also I'm able to jump while sprinting, which is something you can't normally do in this game.
Yeah.
And if you've heard the space bar, I've been, or when watching the screen, I've been jumping pretty much the whole time. Jumping isn't necessarily giving my character like a speed boost, but what it is doing is preventing you from getting stuck on like the uneven terrain, and that's especially a factor when you're going up hills.
Yeah, the old way of getting infinite sprint was the torch glitch, or the Olympic torch. Basically, you draw a torch, and then you put it away while sprinting, and the game doesn't have an animation to handle everything that's going on, so it just keeps you sprinting. But it has much more. It has more limitations as compared to the glitch that he's using.
Right. You also have to be careful with that glitch that you didn't run over ledges, because if you did, oops, it would take you out of the glitch. I definitely did not bring up the console there.
There are a couple things that he did in that little bit while we were talking about the running, though. He punched a guard, got a bounty, and got warped right to Dragon's Reach. So now he made sure to get some gold so that he could pay off his bounty, and
So punching in this game is a very good way to go places fast. So punching the guard there, as Alec had started to explain, warped me instantly inside of the city, and then punching the Jarl there basically accomplished the same thing. It didn't warp me as far, so that warp saved about a second, whereas the first warp saved probably minutes. But yeah, we'll be punching a lot of things throughout this round.
Yeah, he also sold a bunch of stuff for money. Basically that's for bounties that he's going to be incurring throughout the run.
Right.
He doesn't need any armor because on lower difficulties and with Berserker Rage, fights tend to be a bit trivial. And also they're based on your character level. They're not static as in many older RPGs. So that's one of the fortunate things that allows Skyrim to be run as quickly as it is.
So the reason that I'm in Solitude right now and where I'm going is to the Falmore Embassy. Normally you wouldn't travel here until about a third of the way through the main quest, but it turns out that inside of the Falmore Embassy there's a chest with some items in it, and collecting those items triggers an objective called Diplomatic Immunity, which again is about a third of the way through the main quest. So the game hasn't instructed me to come here, so we'll have to find an alternative way inside of the embassy. And that's where the bucket that I collected in Helgen will come into play. Right here. Okay, nice.
First try, nice.
So that's one of the easier clips in the game, the more consistent ones. It seems that clips that you do through walls that are in the outside world tend to be much more consistent than clips that you do inside. I'm not entirely sure why that is. And there I grabbed a platter, and we'll be using that for another wall clip here in a minute.
Now he fast traveled back here because this is the quickest way to get to Riften, where the next objective is. So.
And you want to be careful when you're using the carriage menu. If you click on the wrong place, even if you go back and correct your mistake and click on where you actually want to go, the carriage driver will still take you to the first place that you clicked on. Okay, so here I'm going to make the horse my victim. And punching the horse here, interestingly, costs more than punching any of the NPCs in this run, including the Jarl of Whiterun.
Yeah, it's why I've considered if I ever ran this game, what I would name my orc, and Mongo, referencing Blazing Saddles, of course, is one of the names I've considered.
Okay, so right there, I jumped across that gap. Now, normally, that's a skip that we've always done in Skyrim speedruns, but before we had the sprint glitch, the way that we had to do that was by holding a bucket out in front of us and then jumping out into the void and then looking down and using the bucket as kind of a temporary platform. Now, though, because of this glitch, we can just do it in one shot, sprint, jump right across.
I believe it was also possible to do it without the bucket, but incredibly precise. Like,
right. If you had high elf, it was fairly consistent, but yeah, with orc, it could be done. It was just, whoops, really, really precise. Okay, so here I'm just skipping over some of Esbern's dialogue. He is the next NPC I need to talk to, and he will be assisting me with... Okay, so I got caught here. Getting caught here is not an issue. He will be taking me to the Alduin's Wall in just a minute. Getting caught there actually isn't an issue. The guy will never attack you. What he will do, though, is take back all of the random junk that you stole from his chest, excluding the gold. So that's actually, it can be a good thing, because some of the items that you collect from there will clutter up your items menu and kind of cause an issue when I want to drop the platter here in a minute.
Unfortunately, you can only go so fast through a lot of dialogue. You'll be seeing him do things like that to bump characters from one position to another, because some of the triggers for dialogue are actually position-based.
Right.
And some are not. They're just the best way to skip them is to save and load, which is going to be happening a lot in one rather notorious part of the run later on. I'll get to that when we get there.
So this clip is known as the least consistent clip in the run. Platter is sort of the go-to item when no other item works for wall clip, but even with platter, as you can see, this clip is a little bit finicky. And the best that you can do in this game with clips is honestly just to run at the wall and hope that the game is nice.
That's pretty accurate.
There is an alternative to the platter here. What you can do in this game... Okay, we made it through. with certain items, if you jump on top of them and look down and grab the bottom of the item, so you can do this with like certain buckets and kettles and things, is to levitate upwards. And since the door is pretty much right above where I was clipping, that is a viable option, but the setup is a little bit difficult. So usually it doesn't work out to be as fast as the platter, even if the platter is kind of slow.
I think this is not the worst time for you to jump in, Spike.
Yeah, sure. I've got $10 donated anonymously. Thank you very much, anonymous man. Let's see what else we got here. Just to remind you guys, coming up right after this is obviously, it's probably our shortest run in the marathon. Coming up right after this, Gr3yscale is actually going to be jumping in to do Castle of the Winds Part 1. Right now, there's a couple of things you can donate for. You can donate for the character name. Something unique to Castle of the Winds Part 1 is that there is no character limit. For example, the current top choice for that is Sonic 2006 is definitely a decent game as long as you mute it and genuinely believe walls do not exist. They can actually fit that in there. So if you've got any sort of, I don't know, like maybe a monologue, high school speech or anything you did, you want to get in there, just throw it down. It wants to go like way overestimate. That is currently, Sonic 2006, blah, 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 is currently leading at $40. So if you want to see something else in there, go for it. You can also donate for the sprite gender. Currently, surprisingly, going against what the internet usually does. Male is leading female, $10 to $5. So if you want to see the female, or you just really want to see that male get in there, do what you gotta do. Yeah, I said it. But yeah, make sure you guys get your donations in.
The next thing he did was basically do some dialogue skipping by entering and leaving the in there. Just, hit certain points in the dialogue, interrupt it by leaving, and then go back in. It'll resume at a later point. And then he traveled here to Markarth, which is the closest point he can easily and quickly get to his next destination.
Right, which is going to be Alduin's Wall. And so this part of the run is, and I guess a lot of the sort of cross-country running parts of the run have really benefited from this sprinting glitch, because before, where we would have had to take sort of a less direct line and weave our way around rocks and cliffs and things, now we can just basically mash spacebar, as I'm doing, and jump up hills and over rocks. And also going through water does not slow me down at all. You're able to move through water just as fast as you move on land when you're in this glitch. Alright, so coming up, I'm going to be attempting a skip. It's a skip for a puzzle that you'd have to do by turning some dials and then going into a room with some fire traps in it. But what you can actually do, making use of the dials, is to jump past the puzzle, so I will attempt that now. There's an invisible wall here. It's going to be tricky to get up. There we go.
There are actually invisible walls in a lot of inconvenient places for the speedrun.
Yeah. So here I'm quick traveling back to the stables, and then I'll quick travel directly to Skyhaven. And doing this causes Esbern and Delphine to show up here, or it will after I use this weight. Before, it was a really, really big source of, this part of the run, a big source of kind of RNG, or pseudo-RNG, I guess, I don't really know. But when you use a weight here, about a third of the time, Esbern would just not show up. So that's how Esbern developed its reputation as a troll among all Skyrim speedrunners.
Basically, it's just a matter, as far as I understand it, of whether or not the game thinks he's occupied doing something, whether he loads properly there or not. And because there's a bunch of combat that you're running past, it's more likely that he just won't show up unless you do certain things.
So right there I grabbed a sword off the table. That sword is called Dragonbane, and Dragonbane is going to, combined with Berserker Rage and also the fact that the game is on easy difficulty, is going to allow me to kill Alduin very quickly. Dragonbane has an enchantment on it that gives you, I believe, an extra like 20 points of damage when fighting dragons.
It varies by level. At level 1, it's fairly low, but it's still very significant to the level.
Right, and we'll actually run out of the enchantment on the sword. It'll last until about halfway through the final Alduin fight. Fortunately, during that fight, though, I'll have some help from other NPCs as I'm fighting Alduin.
Now, the next part of the quest that you're quote-unquote supposed to do is to go up and speak with the leader of the Greybeards, Parthenax. Voiced by Charles Martinet, the same guy who voices Mario. He sounds nothing like Mario, though. And he tells you that you're going to need an Elder Scroll. Now, in order to get the Elder Scroll, you need to run way up here in the north into the Sea of Ghosts and talk to a guy named Septimus Cygnus, who will give you some things to allow you to basically attain that Elder Scroll.
Right.
Now, fortunately, if you land in water that's deep enough to submerge in, you can survive incredibly long falls, as you just saw there. And this is another part that really benefits from the new sprint glitch, because you would not be able to maintain either this route or the sprint consistently throughout.
Historically, what we do is take a path that was quite a ways to the right of where I am, so to the east, and we'd have to kind of pick our way along the ice flow here and on the islands. Now I can just take more or less a straight line from the jump to Septimus's cave. And so, because the game hasn't actually instructed me to come retrieve the lexicon, Septimus isn't exactly on the same page as us, so I'm going to be stealing the lexicon from him, which typically isn't too difficult. I will be attempting to go into sneak mode here, though. Okay, nice. Even yeah, so sometimes there, even if you're detected, like I clearly was not completely hidden. You can tell that you're completely hidden because the eye that appears in the center of the screen will turn into a flat line. Even if you're not clearly hidden, often you'll still get the lexicon first try. So now that we do have the lexicon, I'm going to be going to an unmarked location, and this location is actually the exit of a dungeon called Blackreach. And Blackreach is a fairly long dungeon, and it's at the end of this dungeon is the room where you collect the Elder Scrolls. So I will be doing a clip to get into the exit, and it's actually the only clip in the run where I will not be using an item.
Yeah, and it's one of those fortunate things that clipping combines with the fact that the game designers decided to make it convenient to get out of a lot of these dungeons and areas that you need to enter. So there pretty much are always convenient exits for these long dungeons that you can often get to, just not necessarily access all of the things you might need to finish the quest. But for this one, since the whole thing stopping him is a gate that he's going to clip through, they didn't put any additional protections in there.
Right, and so you notice that there was a wolf that I encountered a ways back. You want to be somewhat careful around the wolves. There is a chance that if you get bitten, you'll contract a disease called rock joint. And that's an issue because rock joint cuts the damage that you do with melee attacks. Okay, so this is the longest part of just running in the run. It's almost over, though.
Yeah, and then he's going to do a puzzle, so and collect the Elder Scroll. So if you want to...
Sure. Yeah, I also want to plug, I was wrong, Skyrim is not the shortest run in the marathon. Actually, the very next game that I am actually going to be on the host station for, so I deserve it, is Castle of the Winds Part 1. That says 25 minutes. I can't read. Yeah, so you guys can donate for that, but after that, there's also a very beloved game, not to downplay Castle of the Winds Part 1, but we got Andy Perfect right here doing Earthbound, a little game that a lot of you might know about. And there's actually tons and tons of donation incentives. If you guys are on our Twitch page, you can actually scroll down, check the whole tracker. You guys can donate for whatever you want to. There's lots of stuff. We need $250. We actually don't have any yet for the death glitch. I know that's the end of the run. For the dog name, we got $25 right now in the pool. $15 for butts with a Z. We'll let that through, right? Sure, we'll let that through. $10 for waffle. So if you guys want to see something else there. For favorite food, we got $20 for sushi and $10 for yeah. For favorite thing, $70. We got $45 for blush, $25 for Skittle. I think it's Skittle, but it's Skittle. Yeah, we need another $80 to get the bike. We need, let's see here, Jeff's name. We actually don't have any donations for that yet. The name of the player right now, it's $20 for Omelette du Fromage or Au Fromage. And there's more. Like Nessa's name, Paula's name, Pooh's name, the stairs glitch, the window flavor or the color, all of those great donations coming up. You guys know you love Earthbound, great game, and it's coming up. It's going to be starting here in less than an hour, so go ahead and get your donations in very quick to change how those go.
And what he did in the meantime was he went and stole a horse. It's actually pretty important that you are not caught there, because otherwise you're going to lose time having guards come after you in all likelihood when you return to Whiterun later. And now he's using the horse to do what horses do best in Skyrim. It is actually, in my opinion, their best use by far. Climb mountains.
Right. I always say that horses are the second most versatile creature in this game, aside from dragons.
And it's because it's a symptom of the fact that the game doesn't really give you a precise location. That combined with the horse's long hitbox means the game doesn't quite know what to do when you're going up areas like this, so it just tends to zip you up. And zipping up means you climb.
And so with the horse, I'm using a movement glitch that's similar to the movement glitch I use with an orc. There is one difference, though. So at the beginning of the sprint, I used a weight. And you have to use a weight in order to initiate the glitch. And then after that, I do a quick save and quick load. And doing that allows me to fall off ledges like this one and remain in the sprint glitch. Yeah, so pretty much just clip through everything. This is actually the easiest part of the climb. Certain horses, for whatever reason, perform much better than others on the beginning of the climb, but this part of the climb every horse does just about the same on, which is strange.
If you know this game, though, you shouldn't expect it to be very consistent.
Okay, so coming up is the most important conversation in the run. You do not want to mess this one up, because if you do, there's a chance that you'll offend Arngeir. And if you do that, then it takes him about 15 seconds to collect himself and forgive you before he'll help you. Okay. Alright, I think we passed it. So here I'm going to bump him and then use a weight, and then I'm going to physically weight, and doing this causes the Greybeards to already have the shouts, or the words to the shouts, on the ground by the time I get out there, so I don't have to wait for them to shout.
I've got a couple of chat comments here from Dr. T. Chops. This has been going far too well for a marathon run. Later on down, something terrible needs to happen.
Yeah, so if Skyrim doesn't crash here today, as I'm playing it, it will be the first time that it hasn't crashed during a marathon while being played on PC.
Yeah, there are a lot of glitches in this game that were fixed and a lot that weren't. Fortunately, the ones that are abused in the speedrun were not ones that were fixed because they're not ones that people typically do. But there are other ones that you can come across that will freeze the game. That's why most people tend to play it with things like the unofficial patches, which fix a lot of those glitches, but not all. The game will still crash on you on occasion.
And this is an incredibly fast horse right now, by the way. This horse... This horse is doing exactly what you want horses to do, which is to clip into the mountain a lot. The more that you clip, the better. Okay, so now I run over here to the left in order to hit a trigger, which will cause Parthenax to show up.
Thanks, horse. You served us well.
Alright, so I'm going to use a wait here as soon as he shouts, and doing that makes these words appear quicker. The downside of this is, though, that the audio of the shout is prolonged. Fortunately, it ends there. If you run the game on console, you have to listen to that shout for like another minute. So.
But why would you run this game on console? To be fair.
Yeah, there's really only one person who I know of that has done runs of this. Well, I guess the first time this game was run at a marathon, it was done on console, but other than that, only really one other person. The big downside to console runs is the lack of quick saves and quick loads, so that makes the console take ages longer than it does in the PC version.
There's also the fact that you can turn a lot faster and more precisely using a mouse and keyboard than you can using a controller.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to be heading into the cutscene. This is about a 4-5-ish minute long ordeal, and during the cutscene you can actually lose time. So there are a number of glitches. Yeah, there are a number of glitches that can occur during the cutscene. The first one of them is a glitch that involves Gormlaith, who's an NPC that hasn't shown up yet, but occasionally Gormlaith will wait like an additional 30 seconds before she attacks this dragon. So that's one of the ways you can lose time. The other way is if Feldir, who is on the edge of the screen, just looking off over the mountain, you can't really see him, if he clips into Alduin, and if that happens, both Alduin and Feldir will slide towards the edge of the mountain. Fortunately, there are obstacles there, so they can't slide all the way off, but if they slide over there, that's an issue, because Feldir needs to be standing right about there in order for the cutscene to progress at the end. And so, as you can imagine, we've attempted quite a few things to find a skip for this cutscene. It's been unsuccessful, obviously. Recently, though, I found something kind of cool. So, normally what happens as soon as you read the Elder Scroll, the cutscene will begin. The game will lock you out of all your controls, all menus. But if you have a follower with you, what you can do is read the Elder Scroll multiple times before the cutscene starts. And so if you do that, it will stack basically all the audio effects and all the visual effects of the cutscene. And so it makes for a really, really loud and vibrant cutscene if you do that. Doesn't save any time, unfortunately. Yeah, so during this cutscene, we learn a shout. We learn Dragon Rend from the heroes. And this is the last shout that I'll be learning, that I'll need for the run.
While we're getting through the rest of the cutscene, I want to remind you guys what we're coming together for and what we are. We are RPG Limit Break. It's a charity speedrunning marathon being held in Salt Lake City, Utah. Speedrunners from across the US, Canada, and Australia have gathered to crush role-playing games and support charity. RPG Limit Break is partnered with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, a US-based charity which advocates for the mentally ill and provides support services for individuals and families living with mental illness. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, was founded in 1979 as a grassroots organization focused on making better lives for those with mental illness. Through the use of education, advocacy, and research, NAMI aims to raise awareness of mental health issues and bring hope to those in need.
So you notice that I looked down there as the NPCs were shouting. The reason I did that is because if you're looking basically right out in front of you, it will cause the game to lag a little bit as they shout, so looking down saves a few frames probably. So coming up in just a minute is the part where Feldir can clip into Alduin. It can happen right as Alduin is killing Gormlaith. You'll see in just a minute. I would say about 3/4 of the time Alduin's wing sort of like lands over the top of Feldir, but maybe 1/4 of the time that happens, you actually see the glitch. Okay, cool. Alright, so this is winding down, and after the cutscene finishes and I regain control of my character, I'm going to be hotkeying some shouts and also a couple of items that I'll be using for the Alduin fight after the cutscene and then the Alduin fight at the end of the run.
If you had been using the old sprint glitch, you would have already had a torch hotkey.
Right, right. Another interesting thing about this cutscene, since you mentioned torch, so the one item that you can bring with you into the cutscene is a torch. If you have a torch equipped, your character will actually be holding a torch out in front of you as this cutscene is going.
Doesn't do anything else besides that, though.
Right.
Dr. T Chops also requests, Gray, please do the power text correctly for once.
Chops, please. Okay, so
Seemed like one that needed to be read.
here I want to hit Alduin as soon as I can see him. Okay, nice, we got it. So if you don't hit Alduin basically as soon as the effects from the cutscene have faded and you can see him, he'll actually fly another loop around you, which also you need to hit him with Dragon Rune again, not a big deal. He'll fly another loop that takes about, loses you about 20 seconds. Yeah, and then obviously you want to hit him with another Dragon Rune so that doesn't happen. Luckily we got him in time. If we hadn't, he would have flown away.
I believe if you wait even a little bit more beyond that, he just flies around and he'll never land. Because I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here we need to talk to Parthenax. There are a few places that he can land. Hopefully he lands there. Okay, looks like he didn't. Where did you go, Parthenax? Oh, no, he did. Good. Just took him a while. So this is the best place that he can land. There are some places that are very, very difficult to reach where he can land. For instance, he can land about halfway up Throat of the World, and if he does that, you just have to mash spacebar and hope that you reach him in time. If you don't get to him soon enough, he'll just fly away. Okay, so here I'm going to run up to the Jarl. He's unaware that I'm about 3/4 of the way through the main quest, so he's going to give me an objective that normally you'd get at the very beginning of the main quest. Alright. And now we're going to attempt to enlist his help in trapping Odahviing on the balcony. He is reluctant to help us though, so after I do this, I'm going to go have to return to High Hrothgar and then talk to a couple of NPCs and try to get them to cooperate and join me at the council.
Yeah, it's because the whole Civil War thing that they have going is part of the plot.
Right.
And, you know, it's raging wildly, even though you never really see it unless you actually do the quests. So, you need to have him not being worried about his city's safety. And that requires the Peace Council, which, if there's a holy grail in Skyrim speedrunning, it's skipping this.
Yeah. So right there, the reason that I clipped through High Hrothgar instead of entering the front door is because I did the Thalmor Embassy skip. Doing that skip, one of the consequences of it is that High Hrothgar will remain locked throughout the entire run. So in order to get back to the courtyard, because I don't have a horse to climb over the cliffs with, I need to clip inside of, or underneath the building, I guess.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, if you just like watching him clip everywhere, it just takes way too long to hit the other triggers you need to hit to prevent that.
So there I did another warp instead of...
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. There's our crash. Alright, so yeah, so we're not going to break the crashless record. Dang.
Lasted 34 minutes.
It's pretty good. Alright, we're not too far back. Only a few seconds. Yeah, this isn't bad at all. However, hopefully it does not crash here again. Sometimes if there's one crash, others follow in the same spot. Whoops, I did the wrong shout. Yeah. It's fine. Okay, good. Alright, so here I'm just trying to get through the dialogue as fast as possible by mashing with both E and with left mouse. Now that Tullius has agreed to join us at the council, I'm going to travel to Windhelm and try to get Ulfric to do the same. And this is the last carriage ride we'll be taking in the run. And we need to go to Windhelm.
Now, the way you'd think is that you need to make one of the persuade checks, but fortunately you don't actually need to because, especially as an orc, you do not have much persuade. You are not able to just get either Ulfric or General Tullius to agree based on those alone.
Oh no. Oh boy, okay. This is something that can happen. I'm going to reload this quick save. I'm going to punch her this time. Sometimes if you do the fire shout, they're a little bit hesitant to accept your surrender. So we'll go with the punch and hope that hope that doesn't happen again.
Of course, it'll probably be a different guard, but who cares?
Yeah.
Guards are guards. They all have arrows in their knees, blah, blah, blah.
Said before that.
Thought we were gonna get through the whole run without a meeting.
You know it's already being spammed in the chat, and was before.
Got Villigan upset about memes.
It's mostly been cat bag and team jump bros.
We were safe.
Okay. Alright. So now we are ready to go back to High Hrothgar for the final time and begin the Peace Council. Because who better to mediate a Peace Council than a naked orc?
We're not quite naked.
Yeah, we do have a loincloth on. Again, with the clips here, it's basically just run against the wall and hope. Fortunately, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. I've seen worse. Okay, so I'm going to quick save before I sit down. There is a soft lock that can happen here. Having a quick save, though, should make this more safe. Okay, good. I don't think we got it. Yeah, we're good. So what can happen sometimes is that after you use that weight, the game it'll bring up like a dialogue menu, but it'll lock you out of any controls, so you'll just be sitting there with everyone staring at you. So here for about the next 3 minutes, I am going to be using many quick saves and quick loads, which, as you've seen throughout the run, will be used to skip character dialogue. And I'm also going to be using a few weights, and what using the weights accomplishes is to skip character animations. So certain characters have to be standing in certain locations or sitting in certain locations for the lines to progress. And yeah, so this is another part of the run that we have spent many hours attempting to find a skip for, and again, we haven't found a skip, but there have been a few interesting things to come of that have come from our efforts. And one of those I will be hopefully showing you guys at the end of the run. It's a very unique glitch. But I've even managed to clip out of bounds as the cutscene is, or the council is beginning, and it hasn't had any effect on it. What you can do if you read the Elder Scrolls, you're sitting down in the council seat, is cause your orc to just stand next to the chair, and the council will begin anyway. So what you can do is put a platter to the left of the chair, and because of the collision detection in this game, if your orc is standing on top of the platter, oftentimes you'll just clip out of bounds as the council's beginning.
Anyway, Spike, now's a good time.
Yeah, sure, let's check. And yes, I would love to read donations. You guys should definitely get in and start donating them. Your donations. Donate your donations. Yeah, sure. Want to remind you guys that there are, once again, a lot of prizes that you can win throughout this block, starting with Valkyria Chronicles and KOTOR before this, going through this game and Castle of the Winds Part 1. If you donate a minimum of $5, you can get entered into a drawing to win Child of Light or Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And a minimum of $10, in addition to those two games, you're also in a drawing for Skyrim and Valkyria Chronicles. So make sure you get in your donations, guys. Remind you guys our lineup for the rest of the day. We've got Earthbound run by Andy Perfect after this, and Final Fantasy Tactics run by Tide.
You missed the game.
Oh, I missed it. And gosh, I will actually still be on the mic for this one. Castle of the Winds Part 1. I was jumping. It doesn't matter. It's but yeah, there's this game, Castle of the Winds Part 1, Earthbound, Final Fantasy Tactics. Well, it's like day 2 already tied.
Don't go essentially about that game.
Yes. Sorry, Broseccia. Okay. So, I probably got picked up really loud. So yeah.
So with this line, I don't skip it instantly. Skipping it instantly doesn't speed up the council at all. Instead, what I do is I wait for Ulfric to begin talking, and then I just quick save and quick load, and it skips them both. Alright, so council is winding down, much to everyone's disappointment, I'm sure. Arnger just needs to finish his lines, and then we'll have a couple more lines from Tullius and Ulfric, and then we'll be done.
Yeah, the rhythmic click click is riveting.
Yeah. And there are a few lines in the council that you actually cannot skip. If you attempt to quick save and quick load over them, it'll just repeat the line over and over. I think there are about 3 lines like that. Okay, and at the end of this here, I want to make sure that as I'm mashing E to get out of the chair, I do not grab the mug. If you grab the mug off of the table, occasionally the Greybeards will take offense and attack you. Alright, so now it is time to head to Dragon's Reach, and here we're going to be trapping Odiving. And there are a few optimizations for this part of the run. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is actually calling for Odiving while I'm inside of Dragon's Reach. Subtimal, who is one of the speedrunners in the community, found that you can use the Call Dragon shout while you're inside, and it will have the same effect as if you use it while you're outside. It's just that using it inside is slightly faster. Makes him show up a little bit earlier.
I'd like to go ahead and thank whoever donated. Someone threw down another $80 to get the bike in Earthbound, so that will be happening. Thank you very much.
Alright, cool, and I got him. So that's another thing that you can do. If you call Odiving inside, you can open the door at a certain time and then be holding the shout key with Dragon Rend equipped, and you'll hit Odiving as soon as you spawn on the balcony. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to lure him towards the door. Hopefully he wants to follow me. Okay, good. And then I run back inside of Dragon's Reach here, and then I'll go back outside, and doing this causes the trap to fall much more quickly. Alright, and there's one final optimization for this part of the run. So there's a cutscene that would typically happen where you'd watch as Odiving kind of flies you across the mountains, but what you can do, if you tab out of this menu and then quick travel to any location, it will give you 2 loading screens and just immediately skip the, again, about 15-second long cutscene with Odoving. Okay, so coming up is what I think is the most interesting trick in this run. This is the Skoldafen dungeon that we are outside of right now. This is a really long Draugr-filled dungeon, so instead of going through the dungeon, what I'm going to do is skip it by flying on a bucket. Alright, and we got sniped by the dragon there. That can happen sometimes. Okay. If you can get up to here and not fall off, okay, good. Then you can get up the rest of the way by setting up another hover right here.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of invisible walls in this area, and bucket hovering loses momentum the longer it goes, so it does have its limits.
Oops. Right. Okay, and so right up here is the portal to Sovngarde. And the historic way to do the skip, I don't think anyone's ever really gone through the Skoldafen dungeon in a Skyrim speedrun, but before we knew about bucket hovering, what was done was to basically mash spacebar for about 45 seconds and pick your way up a very specific line along the cliffs to reach the portal. Okay, so there are 2 more fights left in the speedrun. One is against an NPC named Tsun, and we like to joke that Tsun is actually the real final boss of this game. If you miss the fire shot on Tsun, there's actually a decent chance of dying. It only takes Tsun about 2 or 3 axe hits to kill you. And it takes Alduin, if you have Berserk Rage equipped, much longer to kill you. So yeah, I will be quick saving before this fight. If it goes well, it's a pretty straightforward ordeal. Okay, I missed the shout. I'm gonna reload. I won't attempt it soon. There we go. The reason you have to fight soon, by the way, is because there's an invisible death barrier kind of thing right here on the bridge. If you run across the bridge without fighting soon, you'll just get zapped instantly and die. Alright, so here I'm going to be using a strategy similar to the one that I used back in Riverwood, if you remember to the beginning of the run. I'm going to go outside and then come back inside, and this will skip all of their dialogue immediately, and also it will hopefully cause them to assemble at the area where we're going to be fighting Alduin.
Another thing that I don't think I mentioned actually, which is a reason why he's not wearing armor, is because armor actually slows you down. The heavier and more effective it is, the more it slows you down. By type, at least, not by weight.
Right. So here I bumped Tsun. If Tsun is talking, then the heroes won't begin their dialogue. Okay, and then just a few more quick saves and quick loads, and the first Gr3yscale shout.
And in order for them to join you in the shout, you do have to wait for a bit.
Okay, so this is the final shout. Now what I'm going to attempt to do is stand over here and hit Alduin with the Dragon Run shout as soon as he's visible. So I'll quick save to give myself an easy reload point in case I miss. Oops, or in case I use the wrong shout. That is an issue. Hopefully he gives me the same pattern though. This is a good pattern. If he didn't. Okay, we still got him. Alright, and at this point it's basically just a matter of splashing him off. And there's a bit of RNG that comes into play here. Sometimes the heroes will help you a lot with the fight, other times they won't help you at all. Oh, that's time, by the way. Sorry.
Oh.
Nice.
That looked like a pretty fast Alduin fight to me.
That seemed to be a quick Alduin fight. To kind of manipulate the heroes, what we do, or what we try to do, is run in front of where Alduin's going to be landing in hopes of pushing in that way towards where the heroes are. So if we have time, there are a couple of glitches that I'd like to show off.
What's the 49? Yeah.
We have time? Okay, cool. Alright, let me think. Okay, so the first glitch, you guys may know that riding horses in Skyrim isn't something you can do, but you may not have tried to go inside as you're actually getting on a horse. If you try to go inside while you're on a horse, it'll just dismount you, but I'm going to show you what happens if you attempt to go inside as you're mounting the horse. So, we're actually inside of High Hrothgar right now. At least that's what the audio is telling us. It's probably difficult to tell, but you can hear the indoor sounds of that are in High Hrothgar.
I like the stance.
Yeah,
Riding a horse.
it's got a great stance, and you can actually dismount the horse and basically just float here in limbo for as long as you want. And sometimes if you drop an item in the correct spot, even if it's like a thistle branch. You just saw that go zipping past me, but if the item hits me, it can kill me. It's kind of difficult to drop in the right place. Anyway, that's the first glitch. That one obviously has no utility in a speedrun. Okay. So I mentioned during the council that although we hadn't managed to find a skip, we'd found some interesting glitches. This is one of the glitches that I came across. Okay. What I'm going to do here is attack the Greybeard, and I'm going to wait for him to use an ice shout on me, and he missed. I'm going to reload. Probably didn't help that I was moving, but... So I want him to freeze me. There we go. And now I'm going to activate God mode. Doing this doesn't cause the glitch, it doesn't have any effect on it. The only thing that it does do is prevent me from dying while I'm vulnerable. Okay, and now what we're looking for is exactly this. So as I'm standing up, I'm going to read the Elder Scroll. And then once the effect has disappeared, I'll go to third person. Okay, let's see if this works. It did work, nice. So if you do that correctly, your feet will essentially turn into propellers, and you'll begin floating upwards. Another glitch that doesn't have much of a use, but this is the only way aside from flying on buckets that we found for levitating, so. And you can do a couple interesting things from here. Actually, I probably had to have that equipped beforehand. But you can use certain spells. You can also use a bow while you're in this position, and it just looks really, really strange. So there are a few interesting things you can do. One final glitch. This is a glitch that we had happen to someone during a race. This is probably my favorite glitch in the game. It is more difficult than the others to set up, so it may take me a couple of tries. I need some cooperation from the courier. And good, there he is. Okay, so talk to Odoving. Tab out. Okay. I don't know if this will work. No, I don't think it did. Okay, I'll try that again. So I need the courier to start talking to me a little bit earlier than that. Also, Odoving's position wasn't ideal as he was coming out. I'll try standing over here when I use my weight. Okay, this might be better. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay. Perfect. I think this will work. Maybe. Yep, it did.
I must go.
Yeah, so that's something we don't get to see often because we skip the cutscene, but a fun glitch. And so that's pretty much all I've got. Thanks, everyone.
Nice.
Huge shout outs to Gr3yscale. Thank you for your marathon world record of Skyrim. I read that in chat, I didn't just know that.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. 100% verified by speedrun.com. Yeah, that was awesome. Coming up next, it is Gr3yscale doing Castle of the Winds Part 1. We will be right back after this.
Classic orange shirt.
Solid run, man.
Thanks for helping with commentary.
Yeah, no problem.
You're not going anywhere.
I actually signed it.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
sign it.
Top right corner.
Alright.
Yes.
Alright.
Oh,
Awesome.
I'll do it.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, you will.
Nice run. Thanks very much. Feel free to stick around for what is definitely the best game of the marathon, Castle of the Winds Part 1. No, I'm just kidding, the Demon Rush.
Who's running the next game?
Gr3yscale.
Oh, you're.
You probably can't figure out the no keypad, so I'm going to the other one.
Oh, do you? Oh, I was gonna say.
No, there's no problem. We have plenty of keyboards.
One crash. Seemed pretty good. One crash world record. One crash world record.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, Gr3yscale?
Yo, here to play a game. It's empty in here? What the crap?
Yeah, we still gotta figure out your keyboard because I'm sure you don't want that length.
No, I can use this one. It's fine.
it's not gonna matter.
It's like, whatever. Welcome to speed runs.
Quick question before you really get into this, Brian.
Yeah?
Oh, Does anybody else in here need lunch?
Hey guys,
Long
back on
time
lunch.
before that even happens.
Two items.
No, this has a numpad.
I know. Oh, right. Alright, are you gonna be able to deal?
Yes.
Alright.
Okay. Oh, he's so proud of me. Thank you. Thank you, Voligen.
I can't even see his game.
Yeah.
Well-
So it's even better if you come over to like right here.
Will I
You
still
be
be
able
on
to see?
camera?
Yes, this is like
Okay.
basically the edge of the camera right here.
Okay, I can see
Oh,
what
she
you
is.
Okay. Let's disable that.
Is your game gonna be full screen
Oh, yeah.
in that window?
Yes.
Okay.
Full
So,
screen in
yes.
this window.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Maybe some problems.
Oh man. It's a shareware product, guys. It's not freeware.
So you have to mail in to register the game.
Oh yeah, send all your mail in.
Sell the gross stamp in.
So this means that if you enjoy and continue to use this product, you should become a registered user, okay? You can register and order Castle of the Winds Volumes 1 and 2, which is not available as shareware, okay? For $25. And get a sheet of hints and tips on how to play. For more information on how to become a registered user, see order information under the help menu. You may distribute this program to your friends as long as you distribute all the files that came in the original package. Thanks for playing and good luck. Well, thank you. So,
90s DLC, in other words.
pretty much. Oh, are we live? Can people hear me? I just like.
That's always the second thing you want to say.
Yeah.
That's never what you want to leave.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to Castle of the Winds Part 1, A Question of Vengeance. Very dramatic here. This is a game that I played quite a bit as a kid. It was originally on Windows 3.1. I had to do a little bit of stuff in order to make this work on Windows 8.
A little bit of stuff.
Well, okay, so I did one time run 3.1 on DOSBox in order to do this, but luckily we're using a virtual machine now. Okay, so we've got male, we've got female, they're pretty rockin'. Oh yeah. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, let me see. If we're ready, do we have a character name?
Oh, maybe two.
Oh, let me change to easy.
Do you know what it is, or do I need to read it to you?
Read it to me,
I think you should
please.
announce the winner.
Okay.
Make it official.
Yes.
Our winner by $40 is Sonic 2006.
Oh. Okay.
Is definitely a decent game as long as you mute it and genuinely believe walls do not exist.
Okay, so there's our character name. Is it male or female?
Oh, baby, is it? And with the shocking upset, it is a male.
Oh! Yeah, look at what you're missing out, guys. Oh, instead you get shirtless hunk. Oh, yeah. So, this is banned on Twitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're doing shirtless. Please don't kick me off, okay?
Please direct all global IP bans to twitch.tv/postcentral.
Yes, yes. Just for your information, strength is at the top, dexterity is at the top, intelligence is right near the top, and constitution is down low. This is important to the run. So,
HP.
yeah, constitution, HP, all that good stuff. So, Essentia is going to try to explain stuff because besides Half Minute Hero, this might be the most action-packed run of the marathon, okay? So, let me hit OK, and then Magic Arrow is the first spell that I need. Whenever you're ready, Sid, I'll do a countdown.
Okay, give me a countdown whenever you're ready.
Okay. 3, 2,